Imagine what the world would be like if we suddenly lose our Wi-Fi and our devices. Would you have an alternative way to connect or communicate to people? Would you have hobbies to do to occupy your time? How would this affect your mental health? As you reflect on these questions, think about the impact that social media has on your life. Whether it may be positive or negative, it is a well-known fact that social media plays a big part in our lives. The purpose of this speech is to inform people the truth about social media and to remind them to balance social media and reality. In this speech, I will be talking about how social media alters our perception of reality, its positive and negative effects, and ways to use it to improve our lives. To begin with, it is not a hidden fact that social media alters our perception of reality. But how exactly does social media do this to people? One of the ways that social media alters our perception is by presenting an ideal world where people seem to have it all. When social media became popular, most people presented their best moments, their accomplishments, their best looks, and more. By having these images presented in different platforms, people behind the screens are comparing themselves to those they see in social media. According to an article produced by Grace College, the writer says that one downside among many is that we can easily become depressed when we see others accomplishing more than us. When we see people do well and we do not, we often ask ourselves, are we working hard enough to be successful? Are we good enough? These are just a few questions that people ask themselves on a daily basis. This then leads to people setting an expectation that is not true to themselves. For example, when people post an Instagram picture that took them time to take and edit, they would expect to get a lot of likes. When they do get the amount of likes, shares, and comments that they are expecting, they feel rewarded and happy. To explain this reaction in psychological terms, the brain releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is released when people feel rewarded and happy. However, this neurotransmitter is also released when people gamble, meaning that it could be highly addictive. When people become too addicted to social media, they become less attached to their reality. They feel more validated through their likes rather than feeling validated by their own self-confidence. The truth is, people choose to post their best moments online because it makes them feel better about themselves. No one's life is perfect and everyone goes through obstacles just in different ways. People tend to not post the stress, the long days, long nights, and hard work online because it could be overwhelming. However, when they do post the best moments and accomplishments, people are quick to compare themselves because they are too attached to social media. Thus, social media is just a filtered version of our reality. Speaking of the idea of self-perception, according to an article made by the Chicago School, if we perceive that everyone else is perfect, we then try to push ourselves to be someone that we are not. We then become frustrated and then become depressed. This is one of the negative effects of social media because we see others do great things, and when we try to do it and we fail, we tend to go hard on ourselves. As we lose our confidence and sense of worth, we also lose ourselves in the process. According to Dr. Ali Jazairi, a psychologist, the danger of slipping too far into the virtual world is losing a sense of real life, real self, and real priorities. We get too attached to the virtual world that we separate ourselves from the reality. We forget the things that actually matter because we are too involved in other people's lives. We forget that we also matter and that we are also unique in our own way. On the other hand, though there are downsides to the effects of social media, there are also some positive effects to people. Social media connects people all around the world to their family, friends, and business people. For instance, many people who work abroad are away from their families, and the most efficient way to contact them is through social media networks. Social media is convenient and it makes people feel as if they are with their loved ones. We may be separated with boundaries and time zones, but social media unites us back together. To ensure that social media does not take over our reality, it is important for us to use it responsibly. Here are a few ways to help us improve our use of social media. First, use it to learn something new and share important ideas. By learning something new and sharing it with others, you're able to connect to people with the same interests that can later on form into a community. Second, before posting something, ask yourself, is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And lastly, use social media as a source of motivation or inspiration. Rather than envying others, find more reasons to love and support yourself and share that love and support with others. In conclusion, social media is not perfect. Social media has changed the lives of many people, and although it has its positive and negative effects, its effect on us is based on how we use and perceive it. Something to get out of this speech is that we all have different timing, different goals, and different talents. Though we may not be in the same position as others, we could still achieve the goal that we set for ourselves as long as we follow our own path and believe in ourselves. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Thank you.